But I say that with hindsight, because hindsight's 2020, right? And it's
Yeah.
working. So, I could pretend to be the smartest person, but there's definitely a lot of luck in there.
A little retroactive
Yeah.
success. But but you obviously are having a ton of success. I mean, Keynes is, talk a little bit about what growth stage, how would you describe the growth stage that you guys are in today?
I would say the growth stage I think, is a really interesting one. I think growth stage, when I think from a leadership point of view, and then we're at that growth stage where when you start a business, you go through these phases of business. When you start a business, you tend to be around people that you have a lot of trust in,
Hmm.
and they're doers, right? And I talk about doers versus talkers. The doers being the person who wants to put their head down, doesn't want to go to a conference because I just want to get this stuff done. Then you have the talkers who want to go to the conference and talk to everyone, right? Um, you start the business with doers who are all running in the same direction. And then
Hmm.
you start growing. We're at that stage where we've grown enough that you have to add a lot more infrastructure. You're hiring people with different types of skill sets constantly. And I've always thought about it as a puzzle, right? My leadership team is a puzzle, and who has skills in different areas? Where is there a deficiency?
Hmm.
Actually, I have a little fun thing that I do. If I ever try and take time off, like, any type of vacation, I don't really take time off, but I look at who asks me all the questions. That's the team where the puzzle isn't finished. So, I look at that's why we hired a new CMO. I'm getting so many questions around marketing. Someone needs to fill that gap. We're kind of at that stage of the business where you're going to be hiring a lot of people with different skill sets and a lot of people who are maybe from more of a corporate world. So it's more, bring the adults to the room, right?
Yeah.
We're at that stage of the business where we've been there for a couple of years now, but it's really about adding that and career growth to the team. Again, early stage, people aren't thinking career growth, they're thinking business growth. Now
Yeah.
you're hiring so many more people. It's career growth, career progression, really planning that out for people within the team so that they can see what that future is for them, not just the future of the overall organization. And that's really the stage that we're at, which is fun. Another new
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. So you've moved, there's the pioneers and then the settlers, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
now you're starting to bring in a different group. And then I think what's also interesting about that at that stage is the culture in some ways will also evolve. And so you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of hiring today to what you ultimately want the culture to be and what you want it, to ultimately grow into, right?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think, I don't know, we've all worked at those companies where everyone talks about culture on every all hands. And the real goal is we're trying to force everyone to have this culture. And as soon as the meeting's over, everyone's like, that's not what we do, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's how to manage that. And so, when I think about culture within the company, we are hiring people that fit that culture. I mean, a big thing for us from the beginning has been reputation, right? Our industry is fairly small, right? You bump into the same people at every conference, um, and being good people, right, is the number one thing. Being good people that people want to have a conversation with. You might not work with us today, you might work with us in 2 years, but you know that if you work with us, we're going to do everything possible to give you the right advice. It's not a short-term thinking, it's long-term thinking. And so when we're hiring people, that's the first thought is, will this person maintain that level of culture where someone says, I had a great conversation with them. It's not right for us now, but they were smart. I liked them. I'd grab a drink with them. That's kind of what
Yep.
we've always aspired to have. We've done a really good job at it. But while you grow, you have to hire a lot of people, and you have to think really quickly about, does that person maintain that culture or
Yeah.
take away from it? If they take away from it, they're probably not right for the business. There's a lot of that going on right now.
It's interesting because culture it's a trigger word for a lot of people, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
understanding that your core values are the things that don't change. But
Mm-hmm.
our perspective is that the way culture gets built is the types of people that you hire, and then the expectations framework of how they're going to match the values. But then after that, it's about the company's responsibility to put processes and systems in place that reinforce those values.
Mm-hmm.
And so
100%. We
it's a that's a tricky thing, right? Because a lot of people want to point to the sign on the wall that says, "Here's what we believe," and say that's values. But you got to have something that reinforces it every day.
I mean, we give you a great example. You can read every management book, and it will say, I think like the Amazon stuff. We want to hire weird people, so we hire. We have this ratio, and so when you start in a business, that's what you're thinking. Like, I want to hire the right cultural fit constantly,
Yeah.
and then you've worked through your own network. Now you're going further out, and so it's like you reach a stage where, and we're past this stage now, which is fortunate, but we're at a stage, a couple of years ago where to hire someone, you're not getting 1,000 applicants, right? So you're looking at the
Yep.
qualified people, and then to maintain culture within that, it's tricky. And so it's like, well, you don't want to hire too many people. Maybe it's one at a time so they can be part of the culture versus a group that can change the culture.